The world turned upside down. It's like my favorite line from Hamilton. And that is exactly what I feel like every morning when I run to see what new awesome stats the Cato Institute dropped today in their takedown of Donald Trump. I mean, here I am turning to a libertarian think tank that's usually telling us that taxes are theft and government's too big, is now fact-checking Donald Trump's voter fraud lies. Meanwhile, a conspiracy theorist who worked with Mike My Pillow Lindell and testified for Kari Lake is what helped the FBI raid Georgia based on the debunked 2020 claims. These are the same claims that Cato is saying are garbage. And look, we do know November's not going to be a fair fight, folks, and they're not even hiding it anymore. I mean, seriously, again, I'm checking the Cato Institute daily. Regulations are tyranny, and now they are the voice of reason on election integrity. What in God's name is going on in this country? Look, Cato published an op-ed in the New York Times written by Stephen Riker, the former Republican election recorder from Maricopa County, Arizona. His headline: Trump's claims about non-citizen voting are false. We can prove it. Not we have concerns or the data's unclear. We can prove it. And here's what they found. Utah, 2.1 million registered voters, found one confirmed non-citizen, one, and that person never voted. Idaho, 1 million voters checked, 36 very likely non-citizens out of 1 million, 0.01%. Louisiana, 2.9 million voters registered, found 390 non-citizens registered, 79 voted over the last several decades out of 2.9 million. Montana, 23 non-citizens out of 785,000 registered. And Georgia, the one that Trump's obsessed over right now, found 20 registered non-citizens out of 8.2 million registrations. 20 out of 8.2 million. Even Trump's own friends, the Heritage Foundation, the Project 2025 folks, their database, the one they used to prove fraud, lists only 24 instances of non-citizens voting in the U.S. elections from 2003 to 2023. That is a 20-year span, 2 billion votes cast, and they found 24 cases. Cato's conclusion? The constant talk of non-citizen voting is more likely about scoring political points and bolstering fundraising. Translation, it's a scam. And Cato, of all people, is warning, quote, Trump may well intend to send the FBI to run elections in Fulton County, Georgia, or the Department of Homeland Security to seize ballot tabulators from Los Angeles County. Meanwhile, we do know that the FBI raided Fulton County in Georgia, with Tulsi hiding behind a bus, standing there watching everything, presumably so that Trump can claim foreign influence in November and steal the voting machines. In this raid, they seized 600 boxes of election records, original 2020 ballots, tabulator tapes, voter rolls, and now a federal judge ordered the search warrant behind it all unsealed. And we know who pushed this raid. Kurt Olsen, Trump's appointed Director of Election Security and Integrity. The same Kurt Olsen who tried to overturn the 2020 election, who worked on all these lawsuits and lost to nullify the results in states that Trump lost. The multiple phone calls from Olsen to Trump on January 6th while rioters were storming the Capitol. A federal judge sanctioned Olsen for making false, misleading, and unsupported factual assertions in the Kari Lake lawsuit in Arizona. And now he's in power, running federal election integrity. But wait, there's more. The affidavit cites another witness, Clay Perrick. Perrick analyzed tabulator tapes and concluded the data was manipulated. So who exactly is this guy? This Clay Perrick? He worked with Mike Lindell. Yes, Mike Pillow, the guy who is sued for millions of dollars over false election claims, and the Trump-endorsed Minnesota gubernatorial candidate. Perrick was also Kari Lake's star witness in her Arizona fraud case. You know, the one that got dismissed for lack of evidence. And in a phone call with Talking Points memo, Parik shared his views on a lot of things. Shadowy groups influencing elections, the deep state. And he said, quote, "When they say deep state, it's deep and it's everywhere, just like the BS he's spewing." He's concerned about poisons in the food supply, the COVID vaccine, and gay pride displays in churches. And he described these problems as, quote, "the devil's work." His exact words. And this is the expert that the FBI used to justify raiding Georgia. A QAnon conspiracy theorist who thinks that the devil is rigging elections and putting gay pride flags in churches. And he is currently a special government employee in the Trump administration, hired for election integrity for 130 days, just long enough to get him through the midterms. And now let's be clear about what this affidavit that allowed the raid in Georgia actually says. It lists allegations, long debunked allegations, the same ones that have been investigated and rejected by Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. Raffensperger, his own review, said, quote, "We do not see any evidence of fraud, intentional misconduct, or large systematic issues that would have affected the result of the November 2020 election." The affidavit even quotes this, and then it promptly ignores it. The Kash Patel-run FBI, the affidavit from them cites concerns about tabulator tapes, missing signatures, unfolded absentee ballots, and then includes unnamed witnesses who provide innocuous explanations for it all. But they raided it anyway. Fulton County's board chairman Rob Pitts called it exactly what it is: more recycled rumors, lies, untruths, and unproven conspiracy theories. So why does this matter outside of Georgia? Because Cato was right. Did I really just say that? Cato was right? My God. This isn't about 2020 anymore. This is about November 2026 and 2028. Trump is using these debunked conspiracy theories to justify federal intervention in elections. He's placing election deniers in positions of power, and his base believes it. He's creating special units in the DOJ to investigate alleged crimes. And he and Pam Dow Jones Bondi are now demanding states hand over voter rolls. Personal information on millions of Americans. And in his Truth Social post, he already said that he will require voter ID in 2026 regardless of whether Congress acts. First of all, it's up to the states. And this isn't legal. The president doesn't have the damn authority, but he's saying it anyway. The Brennan Center warned us about this. Project 2025 said it out loud. Use federal power to investigate and prosecute election officials and voter registration groups just because they helped people vote. That's it. And now your interim DC U.S. Attorney Ed Martin, the guy who spoke at the Capitol on January 5th, calling for diehard true Americans to stop the steal. He created a special unit at Trump's direction to investigate election crimes. And he's already opened these investigations. You've got the Georgia Secretary of State, Raffensperger, being threatened with federal prosecution for certifying an election that Trump lost 6 years ago. Election officials in swing states are receiving FBI subpoenas. Voter registration groups are being investigated, and Trump is installing loyalists at every position that touches elections. So when a libertarian Cato Institute publishes an op-ed warning that Trump's non-citizen voting claims are false and that he may use the Kash Patel-led FBI to seize election machinery, they came with receipts, and you should listen. Because Cato doesn't do that lightly. They're not Democrats. They're not progressives. They're libertarians. They think taxes are theft and that government should leave everybody alone. And even they are saying that this is dangerous because Trump has already told us his plan. Claim non-citizens are voting and send the FBI to raid election offices. Pressure everyone, create chaos, sow doubt, and if the Democrats win anyway, he will refuse to accept it. He did it in 2020, tried it in 2024, and now he has the federal government behind him. Doesn't it seem like our feeds are getting filled with more and more BS right-wing MAGA content? It's no secret that all these top tech bros are in love with the current regime, so it's no surprise that independent left-leaning media is being squashed by the algorithm. If you like our content and content like us, it doesn't take long to click that thumbs up, share, comment, or subscribe. So please help us keep the truth alive.